helps you to be strong and face all your fears. Yes, inspires you through tears, motivates your mind and thought you'll find home. Despite any kind of challenge you'll accept. Oh yeah, you will want to change and transform your life. As you think about it, you can chill for a bit. As you take care of you, you'll know there's nothing else to do. Oh, Vibe Talk. Yes, Vibe Talk.
Good morning and welcome to Wednesday Wellness or Wellness Wednesday. This is all about your taking care of you. Welcome to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are so glad that you're here with us. And what you've just heard, ladies and gentlemen, is something new. Something that we will play from time to time. And Trish and I always try new things. We want to keep the show fresh and new. And it is September. We want to say good morning. Thank you for joining us. K-Bell, thank you. And we are Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Here is where you get well, be well, and stay well. We're here with you, wherever you may be right now. And today we're going to talk about stepping into self-care. Are we still reminding ourselves that we need to do that? We remind ourselves of that because, it's nice to come in and tune into a podcast such as this one and whichever ones you like, but to remind yourself to care about you, it's a lot. But are you doing it? We're going to talk about that. Good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
How are you? And what are you all thankful for this morning? I'm thankful for being able to start fresh every day, no matter what I'm doing. I think about how do I do something with a fresh start, no matter what it is. Every day we can do that for ourselves. What are you guys thankful for? What are you thankful for, Trish?
I'm thankful for having a jacket because it's chilly in here. I don't like the cold, so I'm thankful for having a jacket.
All right. So much to be thankful for. I tell you, the weeks go by so fast. I hope everyone is safe and sound. We've had a long weekend, and I'm ready to get to work with all of you. Trish, did you get to hear the new fresh sound?
Yes, I did, and I love it. That's hard.
You like? We're going to start off with, I wanted to surprise you. We're still going to be using our old music, but I think we're going to give something a try, and I'm glad that you like it. And I want to read to you the words. It says, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion helps you to be strong and face all your fears. Yes, inspires you through tears, motivates your mind. In throughout, you'll find hope, despite any kind of challenge, you accept, oh yeah, you will want to change and transform your life. As you think about it, you can chill for a bit. As you take care of you, you'll know there's nothing else to do. Oh, Vibe Talk. Yes, Vibe Talk. All in a song. All in a song. So we're still gonna be listening to our Trish. We love her music, and in order to find her music, Trish, you can put that there. Look for Trisha's Treasures, and she has other places because we love her sound too, and we always want to give her credit. So we put something new, and just kind of wrote that yesterday, and that's what came out. Today we're going to talk about what you're stepping into. How many of you are afraid to say no? And what are you afraid to say no about?
I am,
Afraid to say
and
no. Go ahead.
sorry. Oh,
Oh,
I
you got me.
am, I am afraid to say no about when people ask me to just like have a long hour conversation with them when I'm not feeling well
Mhm.
mentally, or when I'm having a bad day. I'm afraid to say no. I'm not up to it. So that's what because I'm scared that they're going to be like, "Oh, you're not being considerate of my emotions. You don't care about me." So I just brush off my emotions and just, be there for them. So that's what I'm afraid to say no about.
Being afraid to say no. No judgment. Am I afraid to say no? No. I'm not afraid to say no, but I work with people who are afraid to say no. Why would some people be afraid to say no? What do you guys think? Why would some people be afraid to say no? What do you think one reason is? What do you guys think? What do you think the number one reason is? Fear. I want everyone to write that down. Fear. I want you to write the words, be creative with that word, and I want you to think about what fear looks like for you. Because if you can't see fear, how will you ever know it? So many people feel afraid to say no. The number one thing is fear. Fear of some sort of conflict, fear of people rejecting you, uh, fear of people not loving you. And I want you to understand that those are normal feelings. But many of us feel these emotions, but we never talk about them. And that's why I ask that, and that we're stepping into self-care this week. Are you afraid that someone is going to reject you? Are you afraid that someone is not going to love you? Many of our being uncomfortable with saying no stems from childhood. Everything that we have been taught, ladies and gentlemen, stems somewhere in our life. It's really the truth, and that's why I've started that way. What was your childhood like? Childhood memories, childhood visitations. We've done a lot, and we're still not done. You know, um, if we said no, kids when they're little babies, the first words to learn besides mama and daddy is no. Everything you say, they say no. And so many of us in childhood have been taught as we've gotten older that no is not polite or some force of negativity. But there are times when we need to say no. Now, the fear of missing out, our emotions and our experience of saying no is the fear of missing out. When we fear saying no, it means that we limit ourselves. But there are times, ladies and gentlemen, that we will need to say no. Why, though, do we struggle with it? Again, let's think about the disappointment that we don't want to cause. And I'm going to ask you to go back and think about the fear of saying no. And now I want you to go and put a picture with this. You see the image of the people or the persons that you are afraid to say no to? Now think about this. What is the worst that can happen to you? No one can tell you when it's appropriate for you to say no. I just want you to think about it since today is Wellness Wednesday. Who is it that you don't want to disappoint? Or who is it that you are seeking their approval? Let's redo that. I want you to put an image to the person or the persons that you most want to seek their approval. And then I want you to think about the person or persons that you fear disappointing. Everybody get that? So now we are talking about fear of saying no. Now we've learned this part, but how are we going to master what seems to be a negative emotion, but maybe the healthiest thing that you've done thus far? Something that you've done thus far. Now I want to ask you this. When was the last time that you said no to someone? You absolutely meant it. Thinking over your life and getting well with yourself. When was the last time? Anybody? Last time I said no and really meant it? was about a month ago. But why do we do that? We talk a lot about relationships. How about setting boundaries? When you have set clear boundaries for yourselves, you have said no. And when you think about your relationships, you are going to think about what you will and what you won't be exposed to or be treated as. You will think about your relationship as your well-being in any relationship. Everybody got that? How about stress? When we think about stress and the saying no, you limit stress. Sometimes we take on too much. Sometimes I've noticed that I may take on too much. When I get to that day, I'm very tired. And so what do? I'm saying no, but I'm still going out the door. And I meant no. And I said, well, it's too late not to do it. When I knew all along that I should have said no, because that takes the stress off of my body. Stress is a very serious thing, and it does affect your health and well-being. And there's going to be times where you're going to need to say no. How about doing something that you really didn't want to do? Remember that last part I said? Something that you really didn't want to do to begin with. You really wanted to say no, and then you end up doing it. See, we're afraid to disappoint someone. Also, when we say no, we limit regret. Sometimes our saying yes doesn't always line up with what we're doing on a daily basis, doesn't line up with our values or what we're doing as a lifetime goal. We have to say no to people sometimes. Your time and energy, you think about how much time and energy you use in a day, and you said no to something, like no to negativity. You're not wasting your energy over there. Think about that. Saying no is a hard thing, isn't it? But it doesn't have to be so hard. When you think about things that you've said no to, and that's what I want you guys to think about today, the things that you've said no to. Along with why it's so hard to say no is because you don't want to upset others. How many people in your life have you upset, or how many people in your life have been upset with others? You've been upset with them, they've been upset with you. We've all experienced that. Everybody that's listening has experienced that. Guilt may make us feel that way too. We don't want to feel guilty, like we're letting them down. And that's from past experience. If I would have said yes, I think about my kids, and I've probably told you guys this before if you've been with me this long. My youngest bought me a Mickey Mouse shirt with the words "Nope" on them. He knows I love Mickey Mouse. but he got me that shirt, and he said, I got you that shirt because you say no. Typical of kids, right? When he was much younger. But really, you're saying no to some things requires you to think about yourself and your needs. Doesn't mean that you're going to be the no person all the time. But we don't want your past experience to be a sense of guilt. Some of us have said, no, I don't want to get into another relationship. No, I don't want to get married. No, I don't want to change jobs. We say no to life's pretty challenging moments. Sometimes we may need to think about the unnecessary stress, like I said before. Then we need to think about having too much on our plate. How many of you are people pleasers and you just can't say no? No matter what it is, they know that you're never going to say no. People like that can take advantage. You have anybody that you know that are people pleasers, or yourself that are people pleasers? I'd like you to step into your wellness today. Think about your self-neglect rather than your always being a people pleaser. Are there going to be times that you're going to have to check into your mental health? And checking into your mental health may mean that I'm going to think about my wellness over being a people pleaser. Are there times when you need to say no? I want you to think about all those times when you say no. Creating boundaries for yourself, that's important. And sometimes the boundaries that you may need to create in saying no can be with the following: friends, family members, in relationships, and in your workplace. Just say no. How many times have we heard that? Just say no. It's much harder than just saying it. Because with that, your mindset has to develop that you're going to say no and you're not going to feel guilty or any regrets. You must be the decider of your powerful mind. How are we doing when it comes to speaking badly of yourself? How many times do we do that? Speak badly about ourselves. What are some unkind things that you've said about yourself in the last day, month? I said something about myself and I needed to catch myself because I was in conversation, and you know what I said? I'm an idiot. And I had to remember, don't talk to myself like that. Why do we speak badly of ourselves? Trish, have you ever spoken badly about yourself?
Yes, I have.
Have you found out the reason why?
Yeah, I know the reason.
Okay. Care to share or no?
I'll share, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm kind of embarrassed of the reason because I now that I look at myself, I'm like, I know better than that. Like, I don't know why but I do know why.
Self-judgment.
But um, the reason why I spoke so ill of myself was because of my childhood of being bullied and of my own personal thoughts of myself, me doubting myself. So that's why I spoke to myself like that. And recently, I had to catch myself as I had to catch myself from speaking bad about myself because I was making a song and I was like, that sounds trash. Like, nah, like that would never. And I was like, wait a minute, just keep working on it. Like, come on now, you got to keep working on it. You can't just give up on yourself like that. That's what I told myself, and it came out great. So, so yeah.
Yeah, you recognize that. How many of you were recognizing that you're doing it to yourself? I literally caught myself calling myself an idiot. How do we well ourselves? The brain. You know, the brain, it stores up so many experiences and so many memories. And we begin to believe in what we've been taught. Because our brain has a moment of repetitive function. And once it learns that way, it's hard to align the brain. And so we have to think about our mindset. We want to make sure that we keep up the fight, motivate ourselves to talk well, training ourselves. We want to think about if we make the mistake, not to call ourselves idiot, not to think that what we do is trash. And sometimes we speak to others that way, and it can be done whether it's intentional or not. But here's what I want you to do that is intentional. Remind yourself of something good that you've done to help others. Our brain protects us from harm. Our brain can do harm if we're not careful. So we have to think about how do we want to dialogue our self-talk. You know, standing and facing the mirror is all about recognizing the you that you are inside. And I think everyone, that is living should think about how to wake up the lions of emotion and feelings. How do we do it? Because sometimes we can replay things. How do we do it? Many people say, I'm always negative about myself. I'm always talking bad about myself. I feel bad. And what causes that? It can be a number of things. There's always this little voice that speaks back to you. When we talk about the inner mirror of your soul, that's the part of us that speaks back and whispers to us how we really feel. That's why facing the mirror is so difficult. Because facing the mirror helps you to look onto you, look beyond the you that you are, and to see the bigger picture. Does it affect us? Well, let me ask you a personal question. Has negative talk toward yourself affected you? Has it affected you? Um, Think about this. What are some of the causes? Not asking for help, denying that you ever do negative talk, failing to practice self-care. That's why we're reminded every Wednesday of it. And poor health habits, not addressing relationship problems. It does affect us. What happens to us? We start to build in ourselves that we must be perfect in every little thing and every bigger thing. Is that true? Ask yourself that. Oftentimes, our head has a space that we say is not good enough for me to even exist, when the soul of our mirror tells us we must keep trying. How do we feel when we think about what we've been through, how we feel about ourselves? You ever had a headache, stomach ache, other things that ache? And they definitely, our self-talk has an impact on our relationship, not only with us and talking negatively to ourselves. If we don't change that, it's going to have an effect on other people. Many people have felt that. How many times have you said this? I always screw up. I never get this right. Always screws up. Replace that thought with, sometimes I make mistakes, but that's okay. I will learn and grow from mistakes. Did you understand the tone of that? When you say you never get things right, how about, I'm struggling with this, but I will get it. How about that? Oh yeah, there are so many more. I'm fat. I'm too tall. I'm horrible. I'm dumb. These are things that we tell ourselves that are very negative, and it keeps eating and eroding us and making us not go beyond the scope of ourselves. Is it hard to replace those thoughts? Yes. Replacing the thoughts with positive thoughts like, I'm smart, I'm loving, I'm fun, I have talent, and surrounding ourselves with positive. I've done that, and I'm still working on it. The next thing I would like you to work on is writing the word I am and fill those blanks with something positive about yourself. When we're personalizing something, like I could say, I'm really dumb. And I'm dumb, I could be saying this is an example, because I just can't do anything right. We go back and we retrace that. Where is that coming from? Well, we want to know that those voices that come to us, how true is that? Or is that something that we've been trained to do in our minds? Now, how do we personalize it positively? to recognize it. Not to make it like it's our fault that something's happened. I've been there where I said something was my fault and I was nowhere around. So personalizing things can make us do negative talk. I'm a person that thinks about bad things happening, especially with my kids. You know, all parents can relate. They say, if they don't hear from their kids when they go somewhere, something bad happened to them. I really had to stop that, and I'm doing much better. We don't always have to think about the worst thing happening. If, let's say, you're going to go apply for a job, you say, I'm not going to get this job. Always speak it in the air that you will get that job.
I can relate to that.
And tell us your experience, Trish, with that.
I am the queen of worst case scenario thinking. That's just me. And it's so bad. Like it's so bad. I worry a lot. It gives me headaches and I'm so anxious all the time. Like before I do something, before I turn in some schoolwork, for example, I always reread it and I always find something wrong. And so sometimes I just say, oh my goodness, before I overthink, let me just go ahead and send it in, because if it was up to me to just sit here and contemplate and procrastinate to see if what's wrong with everything that I do, I'm never going to turn this in. I'm going to get a 0. So I just go ahead and do it before I start to overthink.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, when you think about cutting away at yourself and believing that you will fail, tell yourself, I'm going to put my best foot forward and do my best, and I will succeed. See, guilt plays a large part in how we feel. I like this scenario, and we'll call her Susan. Susan, when we think that we have hurt Susan or Johnny or Sean or Rebecca, we start to blame ourselves. I'm going to hurt the other person. How are we doing when it comes to guilt? Feeling guilt because of someone else. How many times have we done that in our lifetime? Susan, Johnny, Rebecca, Sean, all of us may have felt guilt for the other person instead of realizing that things naturally happen. Like being late. How many times have we just been late? Good morning, Luna. Good morning. And were you trying to be late, Trish?
No.
Yeah. Now, here's why I ask that. Because sometimes we're not even trying to be late, but as life would have it, it creates in us a lateness. Is that your fault? Sometimes you're late, not because you did anything wrong. Like here, one time I was late, a couple times I was late, but it's not because I said, I'm just going to be late today. You see how we can blame ourselves for something that is out of our control? We have trains here. Don't know why, but the train in the middle. Yes, you do. You have. Thank you so much, Luna. Tell us where you're from, please. We have audience joining us. Luna, you have been here before, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are on YouTube. We'd love for you guys to subscribe to the YouTube. We're talking about today stepping into self-care. I want you to think about that and how that helps you. So, how about having love for yourself? We say I love you a lot. I say I love you, especially to the people that I do love. I never end my conversation without saying I love you. I'll talk to you soon. But do we love ourselves as much as we love the people around us? What would you all say to that? Are you stepping into wellness for that? Loving yourself, and I don't mean the loving yourself where you're just it and all that, but loving yourself back to health, being kinder to yourself. How many of you have taken responsibility to be kind to yourself?
I have.
If you are here today and you can press the link on the backboard, please do so. We have a YouTube. Thanks to Trish and all her hard work that she does. Be right back. Stay tuned as we are stepping into wellness.
Talk, facing the lion helps you to be strong and face all your fears. Yes, inspires you through tears. Motivates your mind and heart you'll find home. Despite any kind of challenge you accept. Oh yeah, you will want to change and transform your life. As you think about it, you can chill for a bit. As you take care of you, you'll notice nothing else to do. Oh, vibe talk, yes, vibe talk.
We are back. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday Wellness. We are here with you with our fresh new sound that we will play from time to time. I hope you guys love it because we love it. So, we're talking about self. How many of you nurture yourself? You buy certain things that you really like, perfume, body oil, um, shoes. How many of you nurture yourself? Anybody?
I do.
Yeah. What's the last thing that you've nurtured yourself with?
Yesterday, I bought myself some dark chocolate, and I
Love
was
it.
really craving that. So I bought myself some
Love
dark
it.
chocolate.
Love it. Yeah. That's the time to say yes. You were wondering, how come nobody's afraid to say yes? That's the time when you are nurturing yourself. How about a time out? You know, a lot of us have heard our parents say, go to your room. Well, I'm grown now, so I don't need my parents tell me to go to my room. I will go to my room having nobody tell me that. Why? Because that's nurturing myself to get in a quiet place. Any place in your home that provides for you peace and grace, and that you're able to relax and think, is a good place to be kind to yourself and to love yourself. Now, here comes a hard question. How many of you can say that you are kind to yourself? Or you've been kind to yourself? Trish, you've already answered. Have I been kind to myself? Yes. And sometimes being kind to ourselves are small things like getting that chocolate that you really want. And I'm going to talk to you, that people that are on diets, and I want to say this because I'm not a nutritionist, but if you want to eat the cake, eat the cake. Only you know how much you should eat. It's not my right to tell you how much. But I want you to live. And I want you to think about your wellness and what is making you happy. And all those times where you're feeling like you just can't voice what is going on. I'm going through a transition in my life, and I'm able to say what really hurt me. I had to do it last night. So I want you to love yourself in that way, that you're able to speak. You're able to find your place through peace and grace, and you're able to reflect on things to help you to get well, be well, stay well. What's the last drama that you've had in your life? If you can remember it, you haven't stayed away from it. I made a decision to stop the drama. Even if I'm part of the drama, I needed to have less of it in my life. And sometimes it may include certain family members. Doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means that I'm stepping into wellness and training myself that's not how I validate me. I love living, and there will be drama in your life, but don't let other people be the cause of it. And don't you be the cause of the drama. Sometimes drama comes because that's just life, but it's going to be how we handle it, because that makes you unwell. How about when something feels wrong? Our brains are so marvelous. We talk about this all the time. Do we say, I don't want to do that, or I'm just going to go against it and do it? If something feels wrong, what do you do? I'm learning to say exactly what I mean. Exactly what I mean, so that when you walk away from me, you understood me clearly. Is that always a easy thing to do? It's not always the easiest, because people will act like they don't understand you. But here's the key to it. When you understand what you will tolerate and what you won't tolerate, it becomes a challenge for you. Let it not be a challenge by you knowing exactly what you mean to say. Don't get that confused. How many of us have had an instinct? And in our instinct, in our gut, our heart of hearts, we know when something is right and we know when it's wrong. How many of you have ever felt like that? Anybody?
I am.
Yeah. And in knowing in my instinct, this is the right thing to do. Last night, my neighbor, who lives just above me, had a massive heart attack. And when I came home, I noticed him walking up the stairs and him having a really hard time with his groceries. And I said, hey, if you need some help, let us know. We'll be glad to help you, right? But I got in the house and I really thought about it. I really thought about something. Caring for my neighbors, pouring that into, if I care about myself, I'm going to care about others. And I came back out 5 minutes later. He was almost at the top. He had made it to the top of the stairs. His groceries were still outside. I climbed those stairs to help him. See, when we do good to others, that's wellness to them and their self. See, we can pour into others to care about them. And so I'm realizing that we don't always have to feel bad about other people or experiences that we've had. I want you to be able to know how that feels. I want you to be able to work on those things. Do you want to get well? Do you want to be well? Then I'm asking you to step into yourself and step into self-caring. After all, that's the butterflies in our life. Good morning and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday Wellness. It is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And where are you all listening in from? Where are you all listening in from? What city, what state, what country? Let us know. And we are Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We'll be right back with Trisha's Treasures. North Carolina. Welcome.
Vibe talk, facing the lion helps you to be strong and face all the fears. Yes, inspires you through tears. Motivate your mind and the heart you'll find home. Inspire any kind. On your life. As you think about it, you can chill for a bit. As you take care of you, you'll notice something else to do. Oh, vibe talk, yes, vibe talk.
We're back with Trisha's Treasures. Trish?
Speaking into myself and caring about me and working on taking in the aspects of taking care of myself was, well, it is important, but it was kind of not a priority for me before, because I gave all of myself to other people. I spoke into like positivity to other people. I put in all my effort and work for others when there's nothing wrong with that. I still do it, but like people say there's too much of everything. Too much of everything isn't always good, especially for me when I forgot about hey, I'm I'm not a machine. I can't just keep giving you, I'm not the ATM. I can't just keep giving you money when you come back and ask me. I am a human being. I have limits. I get tired. I get emotional. I am sad sometimes. Sometimes I don't want to hear the drama. Sometimes I just want to be alone and not talk to anyone. And I had a deep thought during this podcast. As I was thinking of that, I was like, you know what? I have to keep, I have to keep in mind every day that I'm a human being and it's okay to feel those things. And it's all right to tell somebody, no, not right now, not today, or no, that's not me. I'm not going to join this call to team up on someone because you feel like your side is right. And that happens a lot when on social media and when I'm with my people that I associate with. They want me to join in their drama. And I always say no. And I say no verbally and in my actions too. I mute the group chat when there's drama happening, or I leave. I say, don't add me back because I don't want to be part of that. And it takes a lot to say that for so many people. And I get it. That's relatable. I understand because they're your friends and you want to show them that you're there for them. And that's cool, but at the same time, just like they have morals and their own principles, so do you. And when you realize that you matter, the aspect and the significance of saying no and um, listening to your gut on and instinct on certain things, you'll realize that it's for a reason and it does matter. So remember that stepping into your self-care, stepping into doing what's best for you, it's serious and it matters because you're human and you matter.
Thank you for that. You can hear more of Trisha's Treasures. It's always affiliated with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We hope that you are going to take your wellness, your well-being seriously. Here's where you get well, you stay well, and you work on just being well. I want to thank my amazing co-host and everybody out there that takes the opportunity to listen. Today's podcast is stepping into wellness. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate so much all the listeners, anybody that has supported us. Continue to support our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, and look for us as we have a sister station, Vibe Talk After Dark. We are here for you on this Wednesday Wellness. Thanks, Trish, for all that you do, and thanks, everybody. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. I challenge you to be well, get well, and stay well. Goodbye until next time.
Vibe talk, facing the lion helps you to be strong and face all your fears. Yes, inspires you through tears. Motivate your mind and heart you'll find home. Despite any kind of challenge you'll accept. Oh yeah, you will want to change, transform your life. As you think about it, you can chill for a bit. As you take care of you, you'll know there's nothing else to do. Oh, vibe talk, yes, vibe talk.
I almost forgot. What did you learn and discover about yourself during today's podcast on step into self-care? Trish?
I learned that stepping into self-care has a lot to do with boundaries. And having those boundaries is saying no, and it's also protecting me. It's like a shield of saying, is this going to work for me? Is this good for me? That's what I learned today. And this made me feel vulnerable today. Like this podcast, it hit hard for me.
Thank you for that. For me, I learned that having to self-care means commitment. Not only to be committed to other people, but being committed to yourself. And your saying no is not always a bad thing. It can be a very positive thing where you're placing limits on yourself in a healthy way. Because what I've learned in life, you just can't do everything. It's, my son said the other day, you just can't do everything. And I needed to realize that. And so I bid you all to think about how to say no. And think about how your stepping into wellness makes you at a safe space. And that's okay to have that, a safe space. If you have any questions or comments, you guys know how to get a hold of me. I am a certified wellness coach. And I would like to talk to you guys. We are on all streaming networks. Wherever you're listening to your podcast, I want to say thank you. And we'll challenge you the next time when you see us again. Have a great day.
Talk, facing the lion helps you to be strong and face all your fears. Yes, inspires you through tears. Motivate your mind and heart you'll find home. Despite any kind of challenge you accept. Oh yeah, you will want to change, transform your life. As you think about it, you can chill for a bit. As you take care of you, you'll know there's nothing else to do. Oh, vibe talk, yes, vibe talk.